Welcome back. Let's get a check on sports. Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh was mummed today about his potential suspension during today's Big Ten Media Day in Indianapolis.
Harbaugh faces a potential 4-game suspension for violating NCAA rules during the COVID-19 so-called dead period.
Let's get the latest tonight from Ronnie Duncan, who joins us live. He's at the Rochester Hills Social in Rochester. Hey, Ronnie.
Well, thanks a lot, Jeff. Just like the old Hogan's Heroes show, where the guy says, I have nothing to say. That was Jim Harbaugh in Indianapolis.
As Jim Harbaugh was prepared to take onto the stage, he knew the first question that most people really wanted to talk about, what's the latest status with the NCAA?
Not allowed to talk about any aspect of that ongoing situation.
Well, Jim, if you could talk about it, would you?
And I'm with you. I mean, I'd love to lay it all out there. Nothing to be ashamed of, and but now is not that time, and that's about all there is to say about that.
And even though he couldn't talk about his situation, the one thing he was smiling about was the mere fact that his star running back, Blake Corum, is back in uniform.
Blake said he's coming back. I mean, it was pull it in, pull it down. That was made my day, made my week, made my off season.
Hey, it made a whole lot of people's off season because of the simple fact Blake Corum is just that good. Now let's turn to the Detroit Lions. Yes, there was no practice today, but I had a one-on-one exclusive interview with Chris Spielman because he's going into the Hall of Fame for high school players. Take a listen.
I didn't realize there was a National High School Football Hall of Fame. I think it's a great idea.
Chris Spielman is more than honored to be a part of the inaugural class of the High School Football Hall of Fame.
Individual awards are just, for me, as a representation of my team and teammates that I played with. And that's not a cliche, it's true.
Not bad for a kid who became the first high schooler on a box of Wheaties back in 1983 after starring at Washington High in Massillon, Ohio.
Well, it was kind of unique in Massillon, Ohio. And for me, all the sophomores normally didn't dress for varsity. And I was lucky enough, there was only a few guys in the history of Massillon Tiger football to start or play as a sophomore. And I was lucky enough to earn that in a training camp and become a starter for the first game. And for me, it felt like how it's supposed to be.
And the rest of his career for this 57-year-old was like a fairy tale. He had an All-American linebacking career at Ohio State and then added on 11 years in the NFL, 8 of those with the Detroit Lions. And he sees this year's bunch as something special for Motown.
Every year, everybody's optimistic, right? But for me, if I look at this team and I walked in here and I watched the first 3 days of practice not knowing anything, I would say, okay, well, this team's, I do know that the latest history hasn't been great, but this team, for some reason, has expectations placed on it, very high expectations. And one or two things can happen from that. You can either respond to those expectations and embrace them, or they can become too much to you and you fold. One of the two is going to happen, and quite frankly, only time will answer that question.
Wow, man. He wants to embrace the race. One guy who wants to do it is Brandon Georges. You happen to be the owner here, Rochester Hills Social Club, sports, good time. What can we expect from Lion fans? They're going to be packing this place?
Oh, yeah, they're going to fill it up. You know, it's going to be a great year. We got a lot of going on. You know, we've been underdogs forever, but I think this is the year.
I like Brandon. He's my kind of guy. Hey, let me tell you what else happened today. Got a chance to talk to Kenny Lofton, as well as someone that you do know from back in the day when Magic Johnson was playing basketball at Michigan State. I'm talking about his front court, back court mate. You see him, of course, on the games. Kenny's not a bad golfer, as you can see the video, but I asked them both. I said, hey, what do you think about Magic Johnson purchasing and being part of the ownership team of the Washington Commanders with Josh Harris? This is what they had to say, and you'll see that familiar face.
Well, the thing about Magic goes out there and he puts himself out there in different opportunities and different situations. And for him to be able to be in the position he's in, to be able to part of the Washington, football team, that's awesome.
See what Urban is doing. I mean, he was able to take his his unbelievable, unmatched, and incredible basketball ability, and use that as the springboard to the success he's now been able to experience as a businessman.
Hey, what an experience he has had as a businessman, and not pretty bad when you talk about the Pistons color analyst. Hey, look, we're going to talk more about that later in the week. I'm Ronnie Duncan. We're live from the place where sports is really fun, jumping off the hooks. RH Social, right here in Rochester Hills. Reporting live, Ronnie Duncan, CBS News, Detroit.
He's always got a great way to end that. Thank you, Ronnie. We'll see you later tonight.
Thank you.